Welcome to the second of our video casts, exploring what Birmingham's drug treatment providers have to offer you. We've come to the city's largest treatment provider, Drug Solutions Birmingham, who treat around 2,000 of the city's population. Annie Steele is DSB's Senior Service Manager and she's agreed to talk to us about their service. Annie, welcome to the Birmingham Hypodermic Videocast. Tell us what DSB is and what can people expect if they give you a ring or knock at your door.
Okay, DSB is a service for drug users who want to change their drug taking behaviour and want to access some stability or access a service which can provide them with some prescribing and some support around their drug use. We work out of 100 GP practices within and have 58 drug workers. We look at working together with the GP and the pharmacist and the drug worker and the service user taking the lead on their plan of care. So we look with the service user on what they're wanting to achieve, how they're going to get there, and what other things they need to help them get there.
This is established via a care plan, I take it?
It is a care plan. It is actually, we use different tools to do it, but it's sitting with the service user and saying, okay, what skills have you got, what skills do you need, and what's really causing you difficulty? And that sometimes is supporting them to actually sort and resolve those difficulties such as housing, debts, etc., which are perhaps stopping them from changing.
Right. Do you want to tell us about supervised consumption? Because some clients obviously resent this. It's a big issue with service users.
Supervised consumption, I think it sounds quite old-fashioned. It sounds like, why don't people trust me? But really, if you look at why it's there, there's the obvious reason that we have accountability to make sure the person prescribed a medication is taking it. But the main bit, which is really important to me and I know important to the doctors, is to make sure the service user is getting what they need. If, for instance, you were giving somebody a prescription which wasn't supervised, you wouldn't really be sure that they were taking the right dose. So it takes a few days for methadone to get into the system at the right level. So they may be using more drugs on top, they may be not taking as much methadone. What we want, the methadone and or buprenorphine, which is Subutex, gives them an opportunity for a breathing space. It allows people to wake up in the morning and think, right, I don't have to rob today, I know what I'm going to be doing and I can do this. So it's our responsibility to make sure we get the dose right, and the best way to do it is to take the person up gently so we've got it right, so they're comfortable, they can still function and it's safe.
But it's not a lifetime or the whole time, you know, after 6 months maybe.
Or even 3 months.
3 months,
it is about reviewing, and some people may not be started on it. It is, but the rule of thumb is that we do start people on it, but it is reviewed as part of the care plan. You know, for instance, if people were coming back and we test them and they were coming back with lots of use on top of the supervised consumption, it would probably saying, actually, we probably need to make sure we've got the dose right. Okay. Do we need to do something else? But if they've got negative swabs and everything was going okay, you'd say, I think we've got this right, we don't need to do this anymore.
I think one of the questions I need to ask you is, from initially going to your GP, getting your assessment, getting your script, how long does that process take approximately?
Well, the waiting time, the national waiting time is 2 to 3 weeks. Right. So we would endeavour to hopefully do it within a week to 2. Right. Even sooner if possible. It depends on what day it falls.
So maximum 2 weeks?
Yeah, maximum.
That's great. Okay.
But the GP would have to be on the scheme, and that's what they really need to be doing. So if they weren't sure that a doctor wasn't on the scheme, they could ring us at Drug Solutions Birmingham, and we could let them know. And then they just need to book in with their doctor. I
understand that if a doctor in your area isn't on the scheme, there are locality doctors that other people can go to.
Yes, and that's what we've created, because and we had lots of people who could be managed in the community but hadn't got a doctor, so we do that.
Right, okay. Talking about doctors, historically GPs haven't been very sympathetic to drug users, so how do you ensure a person's needs are met, and the GP just doesn't look at the person's drug use as being responsible for all their health needs.
Historically, drug users had a bad press with GPs. I think quite a few years ago it would have been that if somebody did take on prescribing, then that practice got everybody who wanted prescribing in that area, and there wasn't the drug worker support. But there also are GPs, and I think everybody would admit that actually haven't got the right attitude, and to actually pursue working with them, with the service user, may be detrimental to the service user. They have a legal obligation to actually not discriminate against anybody regarding race, sexuality or their behaviour. But I'm not sure that's always challenged, but we work with ADAPT to challenge that. But there's a group of doctors who are quite anxious and quite nervous and have a fear of prescribing to drug users. And I think what we do with the Birmingham Drug Action Team and myself and the drug workers, is build their confidence in it. Actually say, you have got the skills to do it, you do manage individuals really well, so how can we do it with them? And they come on really well.
Okay, great. Just quickly want to say what shared care is. This term's been bandied around. Just to quickly explain what shared care is.
Shared care is the individual being seen in a primary care setting with the support from another organisation.
Right.
So that means they're being seen in their own GP in a local area, supported by a drug worker who may not be from that practice. So the care of that individual is shared between the doctor, the service user themselves, the pharmacist and the drug worker.
Right. And I know you have other services here as well, criminal justice and floating support. Do you want to tell us a bit?
Yeah, criminal justice is, we work in probation.
Yeah.
So we will work with probation clients who are referred via probation, stabilise them and then move them into shared care as well. And that may mean finding a GP for them,
right,
because we need to have GP for anybody to be on, and it has to be on the scheme.
Yeah,
and floating support is a recognition that housing, basic hierarchy of need, is one of the things that we need to support individuals in, to stop them from losing it and to acquire it. Because if you've got warmth, you've got a bed, you've got a place to start.
All right, so quickly just sum up. On treatment, it's on your doorstep. Yeah.
It's on your doorstep, it's available, you get all your health needs met by the GP. You can liaise with local services because the local networks are there, and it allows you to integrate back to where you want to be.
Right. And it's all in one location as well.
Yeah, it's at your GP practice.
Well, there you have it. Drug Solutions Birmingham, shared care, on your doorstep. Ring the number or go to your GP and see if they're on the scheme or if there's a GP in your area that's on the scheme. Annie Steele, lovely to have you here.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.